Hi YouTube, it's Mikey O, the mixer from Tallinn. Well, not just me, you got the added bonus of my mate Roma here. That's my Western African grey, all the way from Cameroon when I used to live there and work there. This is what came with me. Don't know why he wanted to come to the northern climates, but he didn't want to stay without me, did you? No. Anyway, he matches me. He's as grey as me, or I'm as grey as him. I'm not too sure which. So, yeah, we camouflage each other, don't we? We do. I guess today, yeah? Say hello to YouTube. Hello, YouTube. So, anyway, I've tried to get this video done several times, and to hell with it. Distractions, no distractions, poor quality, whatever. Here we go. What I did decide to do was actually use this introduction also as a VR to the Smokin Irishman. Well, that's appropriate. To the Smokin Irishman from a Smokin Irishman, or the Irishman smoking. The idea was that he was looking for anything of interest in your local area that is worth a VR. And I thought, well, that's bound to be much more interesting than watching me, or even you. Yeah. I live in Tallinn in Estonia, which is a World Heritage UNESCO site, and that certainly is interesting. I find it interesting historically, and living here, and the dynamics between it being an old 800-year-old medieval city and the new vibrant Tallinn that is has built itself around the old centre. Very young population, and a population that is quite dynamic after 40-50 years of Soviet era style government. Is now a thriving member of the EU. So there's a nice blend there on the sort of blending and mixer, or whatever analogy you want to use. It certainly seems to work here well in Tallinn. One of the main things, though, what I do like about Tallinn is not a museum. It's not a theme park. It's not a city of just for tourism. The old city, which is probably the most intact wall city, medieval city, Hanseatic style city in Europe. I think there's well over 2-3 kilometres still remain fully intact. It was originally 66 towers built to protect the city, of which 48, I believe, are still remaining fully intact and used. As I said, it is a city that is fully incorporated and used today, and is not simply a tourist museum. That is great. The city was built up as a trading, mercantile, military post of the Hanseatic Empire, and as such, it still is strategically placed at the end of the Baltic Sea. We are the most eastern part of the EU and Europe before the Russian border. We are approximately 300 kilometres from St. Petersburg, probably my second favourite city. The Venice of the north, as they say. Tallinn is much smaller, much older. As I said, it was originally a fort occupied by the Danes. It then became under the control of the Teutonic Knights, mostly German-based, and part of the Hanseatic League. Done that for centuries. It then changed in style with the Reformation. It changed, became a Lutheran outpost, very much so. Still is probably predominantly Lutheran today. Has changed hands with Sweden, Germany, Danes, Russians for 4 or 5 centuries, and even in the last century, the tumultuous century from the end of the 19th century, when it was mainly under the Russian control, and heavily under Russian control, not just where previous was Russian but still governed locally by themselves. At the end of the 19th century, it became much more controlled by Russia fully under the Russian Empire. And then with the turn of the 20th century, the events of World War I, the collapse of the Tsarist government in Russia, the Estonians actually fought for independence, and in beating the Germans and the Russians in 1918 to 1920, got its first real independence, which lasted until World War II, which again it was ebbed and flowed between Germany and Russia during World War II, eventually ending up part of the Soviet Union until 1991. Where it gained its independence and the collapse of the Soviet Union. So that's a short history. It has thrived since, fully integrated now as part of the EU, and a wonderful place to be. So that's would be much more interested than talking about me. My motivation would be to bring you to places where I like to go for a smoke, and hopefully show the best sides of Tallinn. With some nice ideas of my favourite pipe tobacco, some experiments with pipes, blending my own due to the availability of tobaccos here, and pure interest to see to know more about tobaccos, each of the individual components, especially being an English Balkan man. I'd like to know the real interaction and the ratios, what makes for me a good English or a Balkan. And one of the things I really like to look at is the effect of Oriental tobaccos. To me, it's the most misunderstood tobaccos. It seems to be just labelled as Oriental, where in effect there is so many variants within that component between Latakia, Smyrna, Balsa, Macedonian, Turkish, Syrian, Cypriot. The range is huge, and as such, they alone must have huge effects on, I would imagine, on the tobacco. Just like any difference in the range of Virginias or Burleys has an effect on a blend. And just to say there's an Oriental in there, I just don't think satisfies my curiosity anyway. And if I can get enough blending materials, I would like to experiment on the Oriental side. Anyway, that's my interest in pipes and smoking. Hopefully there is a connection there with the interest in Tallinn, and that's my introduction. I get away with talking about Tallinn, not about me. What I'd like then to do is probably take a shot of the first place in the very centre of the old town, in the Braccio Platz, as it's known as, the town square, which is original, cobbled streets, and literally 800 years old. Tallinn is unique in that for such an old city in Europe, and such an important trading post between east and west of Europe and north Scandinavian routes, it was never razed or pillaged or sacked. It was never successfully done yet. I think the most damage was done during the Reformation, which was on the sacking of the change of the churches from Catholicism to Lutheranism, if that's the right way to say it. The city itself also never had fire. I think they had the foresight from day one to build a stone city. The city is obviously quite tight within the walled city, and they from day one built walled cities and walled buildings. Hence, we never had any of the tragedies you see in other European cities of destruction by fire and being rebuilt. Again, part of the charm of Tallinn is that it is very original and in an original state. So, without further ado, I will probably close off here and go and take a shot of the centre of Tallinn. Followed by that, I'll probably do a slideshow of other places of interest. Hopefully that satisfies as an introduction from me to you. Hopefully it'll be enough for you to follow my channel, or maybe if I'm lucky, subscribe to my channel. Hopefully it encourages me to do more. And hopefully for the Smokin Irishman, the view of Tallinn satisfies as a place of interest, and congratulations to him on his 100th sub, and maybe I'll meet that target someday myself. A couple of quick shout-outs, don't know if that's the right word, certainly thank yous from my heart to certain people who encouraged me to be here. Many of you know Matches 860, the Indomitable Matches, a must-watch and needs no introduction from me to anybody, just marvellous. His output and content over the years, certainly was my first following on YouTube that I followed for a long time. And after the king of YouTube, we have to mention the queen, or the queenie of YouTube, which is without doubt Happy Joy Sue Dunhill. There can only be one Sue, and to an Irishman only one queen, and let it be you, certainly the queen of YouTube. She's been wonderful. We've had private correspondence, and I've enjoyed chatting to her immensely, and yeah, just a wonderful person, wonderful outlook, history. She's openly talks about herself and her background, ups and downs, just so down to earth. So great to know you. Hopefully get to know you more, and now you see me. When it comes to other interests that started me in YouTube, I'd have to say that I used to follow the tobacco reviews, and my favourite two tobacco reviewers, pure tobacco reviewers, who I'd use much more than even a tobacco review on pipes, smoking pipes. That would be from South Africa, Tabo, who does wonderful videos from his step, as they call it, his country home in South Africa. Again, I might be slightly biased because his taste is probably similar to mine, and that is an English Balkan smoker. And I enjoy how he pairs some nice whiskies and malts to go with his tobacco. Very tasty, very nice, and exactly to my palate. The other reviewer who I use constantly, and because of his constant and reliable output, is Bradley from Stuff and Things. Again, I think he tends to be, although he's very honest in his reviews and open-minded, I think he tends to agree with probably my favourites in the Englishy Balcony, although I think he might have some more vapor tastes than I have, apart from one in the Dunhill range, Elizabethan mixture. Others, I'd have to thank fellow Celts, who else is there? Dan from Wales, of course. Hello, Boyo. I know he's just back from the States, so he's probably still asleep and not awake yet. Soulshine Smoker from Northern Ireland, the Wee Six, where I am from myself originally. How about you there, wee man? Great guitar player. Thank you for the BB King output the other day. Wonderful. Who else do I have to thank for encouragement and inspiration? Oh, certainly the most enjoyable and joyous presenter, Eastern Grey, Alec, who every time I watch him, I either share a happy bowl with him, or soon afterwards I always enjoy a bowl after watching Alex. It's just a joy to watch, and he's exactly a joy to watch. Smokin Rooster, Ethan Leavitt, Giles Cassidy in Canada. I suppose from Germany I also have to say a big hello, because it's probably my closest connections in YouTube geographically. Lars Herman, who's done a wonderful video on Dan Tobacco. I think there's more output to come, and I'll be watching that closely. And also from Germany, the Bremen Piper, who has some videos there, and Kenkling does them in English for us. Of course, I'm sure there's so many more I haven't mentioned, and if I haven't mentioned, I'm very sorry. I'm trying to concentrate on the time, trying to concentrate on the bird in my ear, who's pruning this time of year, changing his feathers. And yeah, I don't want to be too long because I'm going to try and stick in a video of the centre of town to suit for the VR for the Smokin Irishman. So once again, thank you to everybody, and I hope it's of interest to somebody and may subscribe. So for me, in my flat here in Tallinn, we'll probably take a view down to the city centre, which is literally a 10-minute walk for me, and then I'll do just a slideshow of other places of interest in Tallinn, which we'll see more in depth over the years. I have different smokes from different places. Once again, thank you. As I always say, regards, respect always, and God bless. In Irish, we would say Major Mias Agus Banach J. So, wherever your God, whatever your God, may it be with you, and keep you safe. Thanks for watching. Bye now.